Hello everyone and welcome back to game week 3 of the 2024-25 Optegra Championship, where you join myself, Ryan Sipple, and soon to be Owen Swift for West Bromwich Albion Dudley versus Teesside Steel. Let me just get the headset on Mr. Swift and I'll be back with you shortly. Hello everyone and welcome back. Game week 3 of the 24-25 Optegra Championship, where you join myself, Ryan Sipple, and now Owen Swift for West Bromwich Albion Dudley versus Teesside. Let's go through the squads very quickly before we bring you the action live, starting with the designated home team of West Bromwich Albion Dudley, coached by Dave Lewis and Matt Gilbert. They have a strong complement at their disposal: Amy Sherman, Lewis Marshall, Jack Ebanks, Jack Gorder, Laura Evans, Kean Collins, Noah Harvey and Jack Westmoreland. Teesside Steel, their opposition, coached by Graham Mulgrew, without Thomas Met through suspension, so they have Charlie Connolly, Jamil Khan, Isaac Murray, Luke Heenan and Oscar Mulgrew. Owen, how are you?
I'm very well, mate. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good, good.
Just watched a great game between GBG Knights and Sale United.
Yeah, the comeback of the century, that wasn't it?
It's not just that. I think it just speaks volumes to how competitive this division is. Prior to it kicking off, GBG Knights in first, faultless all season against Sale United, who have blown hot and cold at times, in 8th, but they will be disappointed they didn't get anything from that, which, when you're referencing teams at completely opposite ends of the standings to one another, shows just how competitive it is. And this will be similar, I think. If you look at the standings currently, West Bromwich Albion Dudley in 7th on 10 points, Teesside Steel on 12, so just 2 points separate them.
Looking at the Dudley setup here, it's a completely different warm-up that I've ever seen.
Let me
I like it.
I'll clear the graphic so you can see what Owen's referring to. It is very odd. I mentioned that they have several players at their disposal, but they've kind of got a 4 and 4, like playing some form of tennis on the little designated badminton courts to one another. It's a training kind of activity and game that many clubs use, but I've never seen it used as part of a warm-up for a national league. Saying that, you've got doubles tennis on the far side, and then you've got some pass and move passage.
More the usual type on the old-fashioned type on the
It's the old timers of Teesside Steel, isn't it?
That's what it is. It's the experience.
It makes you tired watching this Dudley warm-up, but
it does. I feel like I've done a game of football already.
Obviously, you're very close to Teesside Steel.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, how do you think they've fared in the season so far? And what do you think the ultimate expectation is and goal is for the season come June, July?
Well, I think to finish as high as possible. I think last year they finished 8th, but they got some good results on the way. But the lack of consistency is the hardest part. I think they do very well in training, and they play Teesside's first team in training and kept it 0-0 on Monday night for 38 minutes, something silly like that.
Yeah.
So they can do it. but it's the other end that they struggle with. It's the attacking side of things. It's getting the goals. So it's a bit of a struggle in that case. But I think Steele's aim is to finish as high as possible and improve on 8th last year.
Well, if they're able to keep up their current momentum, they will do that. For me, when watching Teesside still, I felt they've fared better against the better opposition. So Dudley certainly haven't started this season as they would have wanted. I would have had them in and around that promotion race before the season's commencement. They've only managed to secure 3 wins and a draw to their names. But it's such a large squad.
They're a young team
They are.
as well. With the exception of a few, but they're quite an inexperienced young team, so that might be partly to do with it. But I think hearing from what Steele were talking about, they consider this a top game against Dudley, and I think it'll be a good one to watch.
Alan Murray, our referee, blows his whistle to kick proceedings off. So with that, I can go through the squads of Teesside, Steele and West Bromwich Albion. Dudley, Laura Evans, the designated goalkeeper of Dudley, Jack Westmoreland, Kian Collins and Jack Gorder, as Jamil Khan tests Laura Evans very early on. Recycled by Mulgrew. Evans just, I think, clearing her lines there and getting it up the court would have been the better option. A very congested central area. Teesside Steele, as always, have Isaac Murray in goal. Oscar Mulgrew will probably be that central player, maybe fluid with him and Jamil Khan. Charlie Connolly.
Just as you say that, Oscar's gone down the wing.
Yeah, I said it would probably be fluid. They've both played in that position and can do a very effective job in that position. It's a very big opportunity for Charlie Connolly in the absence of Thomas Met. Can he take that opportunity? We will see, but it's very good early pressure from Teesside Steele. A win here for them would see them, depending on Manchester United's result on court A, would see them go joint on thirds on 15 points. So a real opportunity.
It's a very close table, isn't it?
It is.
Such a better game now than certainly when I first started playing. You used to be able to predict what was happening from game to game, but now, like you mentioned about the Sale versus GBG Knights, it could be anyone's on any day. You
take the top 2 out of it, who are both leading the way by a significant margin. GBG Knights and Muscle Warriors both on 28 points. From that, Manchester United on 15 in third. You have to look all the way down to 8th in Sale United, now on 9. 6 points separates third and 8th. So 1 or 2 wins can really change the look of the standings. Would have liked to see Charlie Connolly just be a little bit more alert there. There was only ever one real option from that free kick from Oscar Mulgrew. Had he stayed in reverse, I think it would have most definitely benefited that attack.
Yeah, he struggles to read the game, I think, there in that instance, but it'll be down to lack of playing time, I'd imagine.
Of course, and there'll be multiple occasions, I suspect, in this game. So making sure that the next cross-field ball or pass over into his vicinity, he's ready to capitalise. I'm not sure if he was present in game week 2, Charlie Connolly.
No, he wasn't, I don't believe.
So he hasn't played National League football in quite a few months, so it does take an adjustment period. Live on Court A currently, Manchester United take on AFC Bournemouth Warriors. Should there be any goals in that one, I will bring you them. But here you're joining myself and Owen for West Bromwich Albion Dudley versus Teesside Steel. 4 minutes played, currently 0-0. Laura Evans had to be assured with that. Any hesitation, could have seen Charlie Connolly have an open goal to aim at.
It's been quite a good start to the for both teams.
It has.
Been both end to end, fast paced. It's quite a big gap behind Oscar there that he's left. It's cut out well by Jamil. Laura Evans play quite expansive football, as you'd expect. Dudley.
Nice connection that time from Charlie Connolly. Didn't quite have the accuracy to find Jamil Khan. The attack still live, potential break forward. Jack Gorder, Kian Collins on the alternate wing.
Great young player, Jack Gorder.
Yeah, I've referenced it many times, both on commentary and on the 2-on-1 Power Chair Football podcast. 20 goal contributions last year, or last season, just shows how prolific he can be. 15 goals and 5 assists, that breaks down as. So if he can start to replicate that in the 24-25 campaign, they will almost certainly see themselves climb up the standings. Jack Westmoreland, another really bright player.
That was a really good set piece, well worked as well. They've been working on that in training, you can tell. It's fantastic work by players and coaches to get it up and out of trouble. But yeah, going back to Jack, I would usually do the one day for the championship weekends, but he's impressed every time I've seen him play.
I think it's a case of, as soon as Dave Lewis and Matt Gilbert really unlock the formula and figure out which players are best positioned in certain areas, this will be a really hard team to beat.
Well, it's a case of them playing together as well, because, you know, substitutes, the transfers from West Brom, all three teams, have been quite all over, and teams need a long time to gel.
From your experience, they've obviously got a squad of 8 for game week 3. Do you find a larger squad is a help or a hindrance? And I say that because a larger squad, of course, gives you versatility, assuming that all of your players have something to contribute. But it means less game time. So when players are called into action, they need to make an almost immediate impact, and that can sometimes affect their confidence.
Yeah, it depends really which way you look at it. The like you say, it's often pleasing people as well. When they don't have game time, often they're not happy.
Yeah.
Dudley a little bit lucky in that sense, because it's not too far away from Nottingham.
Of course.
So if you've got a team that's from, I know I'm looking at a team now, Bournemouth, which is probably geographically
the furthest distance, yeah.
One of the furthest distance in both leagues. So if they were to take eight players,
it's unfair,
yeah.
and when players and parents and carers are investing time, effort, energy, money on hotels, and
yeah,
you can completely understand it.
100%. And it does get hard, but it depends how competitive you want to be, and it depends who's playing and everything, and if they're getting the results. Do you change that formula? But it is hard. It's the hardest part of any game, being a coach and everything. So it depends which way you look at it. I think Dudley do have it a little bit lucky in a sense because of geographically. But other than that, it's I don't envy Gilly and Dave Lewis.
No.
Because it is a hard.
No, I've seen it cause friction in the past, just because everyone wants to play football, don't they? So
Yeah,
interesting to see how they utilise substitutes in this game. So when I'm looking at their bench, they've got Lewis Marshall, a player I rate really highly, but is still trying to adjust to life in a new team. You've got Amy Sherman.
Where was he at before?
Manchester United.
Manchester United. Yeah.
And a player, as mentioned, a player I really rated. And then they've got Jack Ebanks and Noah Harvey. So even when you're referencing their bench, you've got youth, you've got experience, you've got that balance. And there will be, I think, the expectation, the understanding that the youthful players will want to be integrated more slowly, and the older, more experienced heads will know the position and the role that they have to play, both in nurturing the younger players and maybe calming games down if they're a goal up or looking to secure points. But certainly referencing this game, 10 minutes in, fairly even, to be honest. Teesside still came out the traps with multiple opportunities, but since then Dudley have probably been the better team in possession, but that's relatively speaking, it's marginal between the two.
I think we notice it because it's been down that end more, so we
of course
we struggle. Well, I know, speaking for myself, I struggle to see that far a lot more.
I'm not sure if you caught any of the action from the cup fixture between Hull and Manchester United, where we went up and streamed, and we had the space and the perimeter.
It's brilliant up there, isn't it?
Ultimately,
fantastic.
what we want to do is have, for our format of the game, to replicate that of the running game. We want the camera to be at the halfway line, to pan and follow it as it does in a Premier League game or a Championship game or whoever. Unfortunately, we don't quite have the space here to do that, but that is very high on the list of priorities of things we want to do. But it's when you experience that. I've had the pleasure of going to international tournaments where that's of course the case, and it's a real game changer. We're obviously at court level, so any action that is on the far side is sometimes hard to track. That's why we typically always have the YouTube stream up alongside us, because the cameras are afforded a much better angle than we are.
Yeah, the facilities at Hull is fantastic. The three courts, is it, or four?
Three courts, changing places, toilets,
changing
room,
places,
mezzanine. Yeah, it's
quite a biggish car park. But yeah, it's we host our regional league sometimes there in the northeast, and they actually did get, if I remember rightly, Kai Gill was a student there at the uni, and they asked for his input on what disabled people would need. Yeah. So, and you can tell that
you can see it's had that consultation, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's had that personal touch.
Everything from the corridors to the toilets to the access to the courts. I think even when we was there packing down a few weeks ago following that cup fixture, there was wheelchair rugby or wheelchair basketball getting ready to come on. So it's not just the power chair players that benefit from that. It's multiple formats of disability sport, which is great to see. Going to get our first substitution of the game. Looks like Jack Westmoreland is coming off. In his place will be Lewis Marshall, we spoke about a few moments ago. Once again, thank you to all that are tuning in. I can see Mr. Baxter watching along on his journey down south, no doubt. So Jack Gorder with the kick in. Lewis Marshall looks like he's taken the role of the central player. Jamil Khan picks out Charlie Connolly. Trying to swipe it back. Once again, didn't quite have the timing and or accuracy, but he does win his side a corner, which will be taken by Jamil Khan. It's a trademark blue beanie that he wears, isn't it?
It is. was looking through some of the photos from the past, and every time Blue Beanie makes an appearance.
So Jamil Khan to take. Oscar Mulgrew, probably the closest option. And he fires it in the goal.
Brilliant.
Really well worked set piece. The Blue Beanie with the assist. And
Is that what we're calling him
the
now,
Blue Beanie. But a very strange defensive setup there from West Bromwich Albion Dudley. There was only one player to mark in the box in Oscar Mulgrew. But despite that, the number 16 managed to carve out the space to fire it towards goal.
It had some power on it as well, didn't it? That's all I could catch a glimpse, because I had to
shift round
so that it could take the corner. But yeah, let's hope it could liven the game up a lot now.
Yeah, I think Isaac Murray is yet to really be tested and or have a real touch of the ball, which speaks to that role that Oscar Mulgrew is playing in front of him. Lewis Marshall just trying to influence that in Dudley's favour, but Khan, so experienced, and Kean Collins can't quite get the connection.
He's done well not to go in the box there, Khan, as well. But what Marshall needs to do as well is not blame himself for that. You know, it's always hard when you've just come on and a goal goes in.
Yeah, of course.
It wasn't much to do with Marshall. It's but you can't help but feel a bit bummed out by it.
That goes back to my point about squad sizes and the utilisation of players, and it's hard to ensure that they're up to speed the second they get on the court. It sometimes can take minutes, days to really be in tune with the pace of the game, and it showed slightly there, but he's already looking to get things going in Dudley's favour. It's Isaac Murray, beautiful pass.
Pass it around the back. That was some brave.
It's something that we've seen across the season for Isaac Murray. His bravery in distribution. That risk versus reward, knowing that if it doesn't have the accuracy, it's almost certain to ricochet off an opposition bumper back towards his goal.
I think obviously having close ties to Steel, it's easier for me to notice things, but just the little things like Jamil taking that sideline there to Oscar, who couldn't get back to cover if it went pear-shaped. But Jamil then has learned now that he needs to cover and he needs to get back. So there is small things like that make a big difference.
Two on one in favour of Teesside Steel as we look to make a second change. The first for the current 1-0 leaders. Jamil Khan coming off. In his place, number 11, Luke Heenan. As Jack Gorder looks to break. 2.5 minutes left of this first half. Confirmation of the score currently on court A. Manchester United struggling to break the deadlock against AFC Bournemouth Warriors. Should the South Coast side get anything from that game, it will be a big upset for Manchester United, who are looking to continue their pursuit in the higher placements of the standings. And I think it's fair to say that with first and second almost inevitably wrapped up, 10-13 point cushion already, that Manchester United will want that third place playoff position. I'll bring the lively standings up at the half-time break, but I believe this scoreline would see Teesside still go joint on points with them, or a point behind them, because they're currently set to secure a point in that one.
There was a nice little spell of play before this corner, or sideline as it was. Dudley really passing it about well. Marshall getting a nice flick back to the wings, which really good from Dudley.
Well left by Cian Collins there, just to get that kick in. Fired into the side of Murray's chair. Half time on court A. Manchester United nil, AFC Bournemouth Warriors nil. 30 seconds left of this one on court B. A single Oscar Mulgrew goal, the difference. Next up on court B, Leeds Dynamos take on Hull and East Yorkshire. That one scheduled for 11:50. Marshall passes to Jack Gorder. Pick off intended for Cian Collins, finds him eventually. Good control by Isaac Murray. A good late rally. Eventually pressure is relieved on the defence of Teesside still. An attempt very late on from Cian Collins, controlled by Isaac Murray. That's what I want to see from them in the second half. It's taken them 20 minutes to find that kind of them passing patterns in attack. Intercepted by Jack Gorder, and that will be the last action of the half. West Bromwich Albion, Dudley nil, Teesside still 1. Just to show you the current league standings, you can see what the current scores do for the placement. Teesside still shoot up to 4th, which they'll be really happy with. They'll be even happier if AFC Bournemouth Warriors manage to get 3 points against Manchester United on court A, because Teesside still have a more favourable goal difference, so they will go up to 3rd if that is the case. But thank you to all that are tuning in, to myself and Owen. We will be back very shortly for the second half. Hello everyone and welcome back to this Optegra Championship fixture between West Bromwich Albion Dudley and Teesside Steel, where you join myself, Ryan Sipple, and Owen Swift for the action. Just a single goal from Oscar Mulgrew separating the sides at present. As mentioned just at the end of the first half, a win for Teesside Steel would see them jump several places in the standings and join in and around joint points from with Manchester United, who are currently on Court A.
There's been a change.
Back up and running. As Owen's just mentioned, it looks like Noah Harvey enters the action in place of Keane Collins. It's confirmation of that one on your screens now. Jamil Khan back on in place of Luke Heenan as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. I wouldn't care. I looked at them both and I thought, oh, they've changed that around and didn't twig on.
I'll even bring confirmation via the graphics. Give Jamil Khan his credit.
Oh, also known as the Blue Beanie.
The Blue Beanie. It's a nice little trademark, that.
Should sell them. We should get a club shop and sell them, shouldn't we?
So,
I'm not sure what to expect from this second half. I don't know whether it's going to be shut up shop or whether it's going to be more expansive.
Yeah, I was just going to comment on that and say that Dudley finished the half really strongly, certainly in terms of attacking presence and trying to find an equaliser, but nothing really troubled Isaac Murray a great deal. If you picked up the roars from the Lee Westwood Sports Centre, you will know that Manchester United have gone 1-0 up against AFC Bournemouth Warriors. They're broken.
I think everyone for me at Derby knew that, the roar that went off.
So that gives them a little buffer over Teesside Steel now, which they'll be happy about, as Noah Harvey just gets some adjustment to his controller. We'll be back underway very shortly. Lewis Marshall to take. Noah Harvey in the box. Jack Gorder down the line. Disappointing that. You can see the frustration from Jack Gorder. Very telegraphed from Lewis Marshall, so I would have wanted to see Jack Gorder be a little bit more prepared to receive that ball. Caught in two minds.
Corner, we had exactly the same thing
exactly
happening in the first half.
Yeah.
Didn't we? In this very corner. I think maybe we're putting them off. But the assist did come from here earlier, so
it did.
Not.
It did. And worth noting that what you're referencing is Charlie Connolly and how he missed an opportunity, but he did win his side the corner kick, which ultimately saw them score. So he has contributed. Good pick off from Noah Harvey. Directs it towards Isaac Murray. The angle was never really there to trouble Isaac Murray. Trying to open the space to set Jack Gorder away.
Don't want it to be as expansive as possible, Dudley.
Yeah.
But Steel will want exactly the opposite. They'll want it to be tight, shut up shop. Maybe counter, get another goal. Which we could see here.
Yeah, Laura Evans trying to restrict Jamil Khan. Charlie Connolly has an attempt at goal. The ricochet off the front of Laura Evans' chair nearly guides it in that left-hand post. but good defending in the end. Corner kick for Teesside still. Different setup than before. Charlie Connolly, the most defensive of the 4 players, is Isaac Murray. The most advanced he's been all game, trying to contribute to attack. Across the box to Jamil Khan, wasn't quite set. As he gets the ball into the side of that blue beanie. Had Jamil Khan just been facing towards his own goal there, could have had a clockwise strike into it, but
ended up with concussion instead.
So due to the height of that ball, set ball will resume play. Lewis Marshall and Jamil Khan, the latter just better off in the initial instance, but Lewis Marshall breaks away eventually. No power to really set Noah Harvey away on that right hand wing. The left of West Bromwich Albion, Dudley. Just like to see Dudley be a little bit more assertive in their passing.
Been impressed so far by the referee's efforts today. He's quite new to it.
Yeah, compared to
the likes of Mark Harrison and Caroline Goldsborough.
Absolutely, I would agree, but
him out.
He communicates so well.
Yes.
And I think the players really benefit from that. He sets the expectation from the word go, gives players chances, and isn't one to look to award cards at the first chance of asking, which some referees are maybe guilty of. 2-on-1 in favour of Teesside still.
A good communicating referee is one that you'll always remember as well. I always remember Crumpy when that springs to mind. Crumpy and Adam McAvoy, both great communicators as referees.
Yeah, Crumpy will be here tomorrow officiating, but the level of officiating as a whole has been so good. If you just look at Oscar Mulgrew fires an effort goal bound just off that left-hand post. If you're looking at the officials just on the Court A and Court B presently, you've got some exceptional referees, not just at national level but international level as well. So it's great to see that the level of officiating is kind of matching what we're seeing on the courts as well.
Especially at championship level, to get, I think, all but one are completely covered for referees, so that includes the lines people as well, which that is incredible. A few years ago, even last season we were looking, and that could never be achievable, but
no.
Fair play to all the officials, and it's not the easiest job in the world.
No, it's one area of power chair football I stay well clear of. That and classification.
You'd be a great referee.
No.
It's never too late, Look at Jeff Lewis.
I have to be liked by everyone. Don't want to put myself in the firing line. I just sit on the side with a headset on and talk about football. That's the extent I'm willing to go. Harvey into Jack Ebanks, who has come on in place of Jack Gorda.
Wasn't on 10 seconds ago, was he? Oh, come on a little bit earlier.
So, Ebanks to take. Lewis Marshall.
Laura Evans is an option as well.
She is probably the best of the ones currently for Jack Ebanks to aim at. But in doing so, expect Jamil Khan to press. Well left.
Oscar does well to stop it going out for a corner. Means I don't have to move as well. That's a bigger bonus.
Just trying to understand what Dudley want to do here. The option to Noah Harvey is almost definitely not on. I would have liked to have seen... I would have potentially liked to have seen that been left to Laura Evans. I think that could have opened things up more, but it was a nice...
I thought that, but
we're at
Lewis
a perfect
did.
angle. He made good connection, so I was kind of caught in two minds as to what to say, but it was a perfect pass back to Laura Evans with that little bit of deception.
And I thought that's what was going to happen, but the pass was exquisite over to Noah.
Yeah, so I apologise to Lewis Marshall. He did capitalise, and
he really did.
Jamil Khan off Noah Harvey.
I think Man United have doubled the lead on
yeah, let's
picture.
Let's get confirmation of that on your screens now. Manchester United 2, AFC Bournemouth Warriors 0. Tough time for AFC Bournemouth Warriors. I think they've got a thin squad this weekend of just 4. I can't see Chris King present. He's such a crucial cog in the way they play. Here on Court B, Dudley trail. Teesside still by 1-0. Over to Oscar Mulgrew, the single goal scorer, and he's doubled the advantage. It was a direct replica of their first goal. Jamil Khan with the corner kick. Oscar Mulgrew with the finish. Really fantastic stuff. You can see what it means to Isaac Murray. He'll be delighted with that. Just that 2-goal buffer gives them a degree of comfort that a single goal just doesn't do. No matter who you're facing.
Wonder if Tyler and Darren are watching, because it was actually his dad and Oscar's dad, Graham, who's coach, that came up with that set piece. So I hope they're not on commission, because
if they're watching, please feel free to drop a message in the chat. But either way, it's a set piece routine that is proving extremely effective. My question is, if there's another comparable corner kick, have West Bromwich Albion and Dudley cottoned on to the fact that that's kind of the passage of play that they want to go for? Likewise with other opposition that they will face across game week 3 and beyond. When it comes to preparing for a Power Chair football weekend, Owen, do you do any sort of video analysis, any real assessments of the opposition to know what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, how they set up for set pieces, and etc.?
We've started to with the first team, Teesside. One of the main things was the Aspire game, which we watched before we played Aspire. We watched the how Aspire play, their weaknesses, and I sort of dictated how we should play. Hurt them's a big term, a nasty term, but in terms of a team, you know, you want to take it to them. You want to not intention, and I don't mean harm, but you want to hurt a team as in score goals against them.
You want to exploit their weaknesses, absolutely. I think even if there isn't that direct process of video analysis, there would always be the encouragement from coaches to watch football, to watch the opposition.
And even players have their own ideas. They're the ones that play the sport. I know Graham, he always says, I'm not in a chair, so I don't know what's best often, but he has some idea. He has a perfect idea. He's a fantastic coach.
It's similar with commentary. I will never be able to talk from a player's perspective, and whilst I can talk through play-by-play and understand some tactics, there's certain elements of Power Chair football that I can just not comprehend, having never played
video analysis now, because of the quality of the streams that everyone, the WFA is providing. It's made the sport a hell of a lot better, more competitive, because if you've got the time, I think it's important that you watch games back on, even if it's not your opposition, but how you can improve as a team. So like I was saying, we watched how Aspire play, and we watched how the opposition play, like Newcastle. Maybe we should have spent more time that weekend on Newcastle because we dropped points against them, but it showed how important it is. 3 goals in the first half against Aspire was all because of all 3 of them goals were exactly what we discussed that was Aspire's weaknesses.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and I think that shows a whole new level to the sport.
I can confirm that the Reeve family is tuning in to
As expected.
this one. And we've also got Greg in the chat calling Dazza your corner maestro. So full credit to Darren, Tyler and others for that one, because it's having an impact and an influence on Teesside still, which is fantastic to see. What you want to kind of see now is this Dudley team take influence from the Throssels team, from the Albion team in the Premiership. Substitute for Teesside still, replicating the single substitute they made in the first half. Luke Keenan coming on, Jamil Khan coming off. 2 more assists for Jamil Khan in the 24-25 season. I believe that puts him on 5 across the season.
Amy Sherman's made an appearance as well.
Yeah.
I must have missed that one.
No, I did make confirmation of that substitute. We was deep in conversation, but
I can only do one thing at a time.
But Dudley made 3 substitutes. They brought Jack Gordon, Kean Collins back on, and Amy Sherman on as well. So Laura Evans, the only present across the 37 minutes or so played so far. So great to see Ruben Walls from Northern Ireland tuning in. Fantastic player.
Again, another young squad, Northern Ireland, quite
predominantly. The future is very exciting for them. They've obviously recruited Carl Forster, who we're very familiar with in this country.
He's a great player.
And many others, Patrick Comiskey, Bartek Kaskowski, Ruben Walls and others. They will be a force to be reckoned with if they can continue on their current trajectory. They were great to watch at the Sydney World Cup, the back end of 2023.
I'm going back in time a long time, but I remember sharing a court with Scott Hilland and
Jason Browning. Was he present?
He wasn't. No, it was Portugal 2011.
Wow.
I believe, if I remember rightly. And there was, who else was there? It was just as Ireland was getting set up, really. Rosie Hodgson was there, and the late Christian Darlington, Sam Bull.
Wow, that is a blast from the past.
Showing my age now. I am only 26, I promise. Just feel 56. But no, it's definitely a blast from the past. I'm impressed with Charlie.
Yeah.
He's come in after not having much game time this season, but he's definitely more than filled the spot he's been.
No, I agree completely. Hopefully he can build on this now, and it gives Graham Mulgrew somewhat of a headache selection.
It's a nice headache.
It is. We spoke about squad selection and we've spoken about squad sizes. I think a squad of 6 is the real sweet spot. And once they get Thomas Met back, who's suspended for this one, assuming that all players can contribute and add something a little bit different to the game, it will really help Teesside Steel's chances of what now looks like a race for third. They're definitely in that race for that single playoff position, and just for context, whoever finishes third in the Championship will play whoever finishes 10th in the Premiership in a one-off playoff fixture. Manchester United now 4 goals to the good against AFC Bournemouth Warriors, so they will maintain their position in third at the moment, but I'm sure there's some crucial matchups in the remaining games of the 24-25 season which could see them dip in and out of that position. Laura Evans to Jack Gorder, swipes it over to Cian Collins. Isaac Murray been very isolated from the play as we tick over into additional time. Anything that Dudley get now would be nothing more than a consolation. It's been a real professional performance from Teesside still. They're well worth their 2-goal lead and what will be 3 points. So congratulations to them. 2 Jamil Khan assists, 2 Oscar Mulgrew goals as the full-time whistle is blown. Give me your thoughts on that one, Owen.
Yeah, it was a great game. It was exactly sort of what we promised beforehand. It was quite open. Not as open as I'd thought, but yeah, it was, all players played a part. Even Dudley, even though Dudley lost, I think their players played well.
Yeah.
I think it was just 2 lapses of concentration when set pieces, and when it's a set piece that you've not seen before, again it goes back to this video analysis that we were talking about a couple of minutes ago. But when it's a set piece you've not seen before, it's hard to preempt what's going on.
Yeah.
And your brain naturally thinks, what do I do? What do I do? This isn't a script. This isn't what we used to. So you go into panic mode, and then before you know it, they know what they're doing, so they've already got the advantage, and then the goal goes in. So, you know, taking nothing away from Dudley, they were fantastic. Steele probably deserved the win just because of the 2 set pieces, but I think in open play, I think Dudley
A lot more even.
was a lot more even, and so yeah.
No, I would agree. Just looking at them league standings, you can see that bumps Teesside still up to 4th, 3 points behind Manchester United in 3rd. I think the glaringly obvious thing when referencing them standings is Leeds Dynamos and Villa Rockets Lions on 12 points and 13 points and 12 points respectively. Both have 2 games in hand over all of the teams above them. So if they are to secure wins, they will leapfrog both Teesside Steel and Manchester United. But thank you to everyone that is tuned in to myself and Owen. Next game on Court B, I will be calling the action alongside Thomas Met of Leeds Dynamos versus Hull and East Yorkshire. Thank you all.